Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Tech Bytes review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the HHKB Professional Classic. This is the new iteration over the previous model, HHKB Professional 2. It has some new features such as PBT case and spacebar, as well as USB-C, and a few other niceties that we'll get into throughout the later parts of the video. Stay tuned, and we'll be taking a look at typing experience, overall build quality, and recommendations for who this would be a good keyboard for. To kick things off, let's jump into build quality. Now that's something that has been a bit polarizing about these boards in the past. I know there are people who have complained about the previous model, the Professional 2, having a very flimsy, almost non-premium feeling case. And again, it's been a polarizing topic for people. On one hand, these are very lightweight boards, but I can say that with this newest iteration, this HHKB Professional Classic with the PBT case, it is a very premium feeling board. There is no case wobble, no case creak. I am the owner of a Professional 2, and I can tell you that this definitely does have a more solid feel to it. You could see the corners are all flush. There is no any machining or anything that's visible on the case. It's just a very nice solid premium feel. One of the biggest complaints was that it was so light that the keyboard would actually move around on your desk while you were typing. This definitely is not the case now. So from a case build quality standpoint, this has everything that you would expect out of a premium keyboard. If we take a look at the back side, you can see that there are now rubber feet included. If memory serves, the previous model did not have these rubber feet. I know many people were sticking them on themselves, and it became a bit of an issue for just the overall appearance and feel of the keyboard. But this one is definitely a solid piece. You can see that the feet have two different heights to them. They have the fully extended as well as a medium extension, which just allows you to customize that to what's most comfortable for you. The dip switches are still located in the same spot on the back. Nothing has changed there. Again, this is for everything from configuring the keys to setting up in Windows mode, Mac mode, different things along the lines there. Also, USB-C is now included. This is probably one of the biggest new features aside from the addition of the PBT spacebar. So all in all, I can say that this definitely has superior build quality to the previous iteration of the HHKB. The keys themselves, the overall feel of the board, it's just much sturdier. So if you were a fan before and you're looking for something that has that little extra oomph, this is definitely going to be a worthwhile upgrade. That being said, if you're looking for something to attract somebody who's never used these boards before, I don't know that the upgrades themselves offer more than what the previous board did. It's really more if you've already decided that you want to get one, definitely go with the newest model. Or if you're just a collector, then this is the USB-C alone and PBT spacebar would be enough to push you into buying one. Now let's quickly talk about the keycaps on the HHKB. Now, personally, I am not the biggest fan, and it's nothing to do with build quality. The quality themselves, they're all PBT now, including the spacebar. The rubber dome topper feel obviously is very snappy. It's very lightweight. It gives a very nice tactile bump. No mushiness at the bottom. No complaints there. But the keys themselves are too small for my finger. So if we take a look at the size of my finger, it completely takes up the top part and also hangs over the edge. Which is a bit of an issue because I tend to, whether you're gaming or typing fast, if you accidentally hit something just on the corner, the keys won't catch your finger. You'll actually end up hitting another key. It sounds like a minor complaint, but it is something that has happened to me almost every time that I use this board to type. I am a programmer by trade. I hit some of the less commonly used keys, such as the brackets, curly braces, the tilde for one, which is now moved on the right side. And this can cause issues, especially when you're a touch typist and you're used to having much larger keys, like on an IBM Model M or something. So it is something to be aware of. The quality of the keycaps themselves, the quality of the switches is still spot on. It's very premium feel. absolutely no complaints. If you're into Topper, or if you are a rubber dome enthusiast and you want something that's going to get you up to the next level, definitely consider Topper. However, the HHKB itself just has at least what appears to me to be these smaller keycaps, and it does make for a bit of an issue for typing. You can see I don't have very large hands, and it is enough that that I have issues with it. The other thing, I don't know if this is visible, so let me try to get this in the shot here, but the keycaps, now this goes for all Topper boards, not just HHKB, but the keycaps do come crooked. I've never had a Topper board that didn't have crooked keys. You can see it's very close to rubbing the delete and backspace key here, but there is no friction. It's not something that would actually cause issues while you're typing, but it is something to be aware of. If you're somebody who tends to get a little OCD about their keycaps and their keyboards, it will mess with you a little bit like it has me. Now to get into the meat of the review here, the typing experience of the HHKB Professional Classic. This is going to be everything from the layout of the board, how that feels on your hands, to the feel of the Topper switches themselves. Typing on the HHKB is interesting, at least for somebody like me who prefers the classic IBM buckling spring. I do have fond memories, obviously, I think most of us do, of typing on some of the classic Dell or Keytronic rubber dome keyboards back when they were made to a certain quality, standard of quality. And this definitely is reminiscent of those days. The switch itself is unlike a rubber dome in the fact that it is not mushy when you bottom it out. It is extremely responsive. Given that these are capacitive rubber domes, it does have inherent N-key rollover. And everything about it is just a much better, it's probably the best rubber dome experience that you can buy on a keyboard. So if you are looking for more of a tactile and more responsive typing experience, but you're not yet ready to move into the mechanical keyboard space, or if you just find them too loud, you can see that this has a nice thok sound to it compared to the click or the clack of a mechanical keyboard. So as far as typing on these rubber dome switches, these Topper switches, it's definitely by far going to be one of the best rubber dome experiences you can buy. And the HHKB form factor is no exception. The fact that there is no metal case gives it a very unique hollow thok sound, as I'm sure you can hear in the video. And that's because there's no metal to echo off of. Some of your real forces will not have this type of sound associated with it. So from a switch standpoint, definitely a big thumbs up. I think it's a fantastic feel. It's very responsive. It's very snappy. I never have to wait for a key to pop back up. There's no mushiness when bottoming out. Again, it's just a very good overall feel. Now, to get into the layout itself, and this is where the HHKB likes to market itself as the ultimate programmer or ultimate programmer's keyboard, ultimate coding keyboard. I mean, even in the name, right? The happy hacking keyboard. I don't buy into it. Again, I am a programmer. I spend most of my time programming in C and C++. Having control over here, while it's nice, I have too much muscle memory for control being down in the bottom left corner. And I don't find it that comfortable. I really don't. Some other weird things that for other programmers out there that to be aware of is that your tilde is going to be on the opposite side, which is definitely an interesting one. You'll also notice that the delete key is swapped. This is the delete backspace key. It normally sits up here in the top right quadrant, and now it's been dropped down a level. If you're used to a regular keyboard, this will throw you off for much longer than a few weeks. I find myself hitting this over and over and over again on accident when I'm trying to hit the pipe or just any other key up here on the top row. So the layout of the keys definitely will throw you. If you use it long enough, it's not going to be that much of an issue. A lot of people, and what scared me off originally too, was the placement of the arrow keys and having to adapt to that. Given that you spend most of your time in an IDE or Excel or something along those lines, it's not as good as a dedicated arrow key cluster. That being said, your hand falls just about as naturally as you can imagine holding the FN key. It took me less than a week to adapt to these arrow keys. They are not difficult to pick up. it really isn't something to be concerned about. I would be much more concerned about the placement of control, the placement of the backspace key, and overall just lacking some of the other keys that you may be used to down here. So all in all, I can say that it is a good typing experience. I personally am not a fan of the 60% and having to rely on function layers to access my keys. At a bare minimum, I go with the TKL. So this probably wouldn't be the best board if you do prefer more keys, your function key layer. Another thing to consider is if you plan on using this for gaming, depending on the game, you might run into some difficulties. So it's responsive enough that you could use WASD for first-person shooters or something without too much of an issue. You could tilt the board and move that way. You have plenty of space for your mouse. I personally wouldn't recommend it just by the fact that you don't have your function row. If you're playing MMORPGs, you're really going to be missing that unless you want to take your hand off the mouse and hold down the function key to do it. Finally, to wrap this up, let's talk about who this keyboard would be recommended for. To be quite honest, unless you're already sold on Topper or you're already sold on the HHKB layout, you're a previous fan of 60% and you know what you're getting into, I don't know that I could recommend it to your average user. I just think you're sacrificing too much on the layout. The key switches, while they are nice, I don't think offer anything more than what you could get for half the price out of a really good quality mechanical keyboard. It's definitely a unique typing experience, no doubt about that. It's very portable, absolutely no doubt about that. They brought it into the 21st century with USB-C. The upgraded case is fantastic. It's nice. I just personally, it's the same issues I had with the original HHKB Professional 2. The keycaps being smaller, the lack of a standard layout, and the keys being switched around on me. I just don't know that there's enough here for me to recommend this to an average user. It's a very niche product in that it's 60% and it's Topper. So unless you're a fan of both, I would hesitate dumping the money on one of these. Thank you all for watching another Tech Bytes review. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I will be trying to put out at least one of these videos a week. I have a ton of keyboards, a ton of mice and trackballs, and a lot of various computer peripherals to get through. So definitely stay tuned. There will be more. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you hate. And definitely take all that feedback and do my best to provide good quality reviews for you. Thanks again for watching.